Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me, your host, Tommy Gilberts, as we sit down and take a behind-the-scenes look into Titan athletics with weekly interviews with coaches and athletes. This is Titan Table Talk. Hello, Titan fans, Titan family. Welcome inside the Ames Library podcast studio. It is week 8 of Titan Table Talk here in the fall of 2024. And it is week 8. It's the end of October, so it is time to turn the page and have our first winter sports guests alongside our many, many fall sports that we've talked to this fall. It is Ron Rose, head men's basketball coach, opening things up for us today. Ron, how are we doing?
Hey, it's great to be here. The leaves are changing. The air's cool. It's hoop season, man.
It is.
Hard to believe, but
the high in Bloomington is 80 degrees today, so really hoop season.
It doesn't feel like it, does it? You're sitting here with short sleeves on. It's amazing. But we played in less than a week, so it's time to get after it. It's getting real.
And we're in sweatpants I don't need, a jacket you don't need, and, that's how it goes. But you do play in less than a week, and let's open by talking about those 2 Division I exhibitions. First one will be this Sunday, October 27th, up at DePaul.
Yeah, we're calling it Big East Week. As if the CCIW is not tough enough, we've scheduled our exhibition at DePaul on Sunday, at Butler on Wednesday. So we have 2 Big East Conference opponents right off the bat. Should be, we're always trying to give our guys unique experiences, create opportunities to create memories, and certainly getting to play at DePaul and at Butler will be really cool experiences for our team.
Yeah, and a really similar, goal at the beginning of last year, obviously opening at ISU on that same Sunday at the end of October, and then heading up to DeKalb to face Northern Illinois that Wednesday night. How did we land on DePaul and Butler as the 2 for this year?
Every year at the end of the season, I reach out to several Division I coaches and programs, and we work hard to try to give our guys these opportunities. I think they want to play on a little bit bigger stage, to be challenged in this way. I think it also for our program, we want to recruit competitive guys that want those challenges. So we work on it every spring. As soon as basketball season's over, we start making those contacts. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Certainly the last 2 years, we've gotten 2 each year. And so I know our guys are excited about it. It adds a little juice to the off season, guys. Yeah. Wondering should they get in that gym and work out or that weight room, and knowing the challenge ahead certainly is a motivating factor as well.
Yeah, and I know you have a couple alumni events surrounding these games. You want to tell us some of those details?
Yeah, and so we play DePaul at 6 p.m., and prior to that, I believe at 4 o'clock, there'll be an alumni event in Chicago. I don't have the exact location, but I believe it's being sent out to alumni. Any supporters, family, friends are welcome to do that. And same thing in Indianapolis before the Butler game, which is 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time.
Yes. And that's the key, is remembering that time change on Wednesday. Don't play a lot of games outside the time zone, except for like the West Coast trip last year. But yeah.
You don't want to be late.
Yeah, that's not the goal. So fast forwarding to games that will actually count.
Yeah.
Those will be huge. They'll be very exciting. But at the end, you come out of them 0-0. And the Titans will open once again with the Jack Sikma tournament November 8th and 9th, the Friday and Saturday here. One other scheduling note, as we talked about right before going on the air here, we do play the 5 p.m. game against Cal Lutheran on Friday, and then 7 p.m. is Calvin and Platteville. And how about that field for the Sikma?
Well, it's going to be a second weekend NCAA tournament field. All 4 teams likely will be in the top 20 with Platteville. There's a good chance they'll be preseason number 1 in the country. So it's going to be an incredible field. We're always excited. Jack Sikma is coming back, so he'll be at the Shirk Center, where we've created a kind of a tradition that we honor former Titans that weekend. And this year we're going to honor all the former all-conference players that played in the men's basketball program. So we're hoping to have a lot of former Hoopers back. And I can't think of a better way to start the season than a challenging tournament like we've got in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back, there have been some strong fields for that tournament in the past. this has to be the best one top to bottom, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing we've really prided ourselves when we started this Jack Sikma Hall of Fame tournament is we wanted it to be one of the elite small college tournaments in the country. And every year we've been able to attract some of the top teams around. And I don't know if we've had 4 top 20 preseason teams in before, but I know the first year all 4 teams made the NCAA tournament later, won their conferences. So it's going to be, I mean, and those matter. Those games early on matter in terms of making the NCAA tournament or seedings down the line. So you've got to be playing good basketball from the get-go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at, not necessarily getting a lot of regional ranked opponents necessarily in this tournament because you're trying to attract teams from all over the country, but teams that are going to give you a serious strength of schedule bump when you're looking at the potential pool C bid down the line and just in general getting you ready for the CCW slate.
Well, and uniquely, they've gotten rid of the regionally ranked opponents this year.
That's
so
right.
It's
That's right.
Completely computer-based.
Yeah.
So playing this competition early, especially if you're able to win those games, certainly will help you.
Yeah, I forgot about that, and actually I was reading about it this summer. But yeah, that'll be really exciting to see the Titans in action for sure. I know we'll have a lot of fans excited to come out for that one. And you see many things that happen on the court. You don't see a lot of things that happen during practice. And there's a really exciting new development thanks to the Gravelins that we've seen this fall. You want to tell us a little bit about their donation?
Yeah, we'd like to give the Dr. Gravelin and Diane Gravelin a big thank you. It started, they send their grandsons to basketball camp, and I was just having a conversation with Dr. Gravelin one morning about 7:30, and it kind of branched into this incredible donation that they gave us, and it's the NOAA shooting system. And so the NOAA shooting system, we put it up in both of the main baskets in the practice gym, and our guys have an app on their phones that will track every shot taken. And so if it's an individual workout, they can track exactly how many shots they took, how many they made, but it also dials down into each individual shot. So the optimal shot, Tommy, so when you're in the gym later working on your jumper, it is a 45-degree angle out of the hand. You want to shoot it in the center third of the basket, in the back third of the rim. And so if you're able to do that, the NOAA system tracks exactly that. You'll get a diagram of where the ball goes in exactly each of your shots. And so if you get all 3, it actually gives you a little money sound, ching, ching, so you know you're shooting it. So when our guys are in there shooting on their own, it will track 45-degree, 46-degree, 49-degree. It'll track exactly the arc so that you can really groove your shot. So you come out and we're shooting well this season, we'll tip our hat to Dr. and Diane Gravelin. And a huge thank you to them. Super generous donation. We can't thank them enough.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, if I understand it correctly, it comes with a subscription basically each year, and they've also covered that through an endowment. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was created as endowment, so we will have this NOAA shooting system well into the future. And in fact, when the new model comes out, we'll be able to stay on top of that as well. So it'll be around a lot longer than I will be, Tommy. So, so thank you to the Gravelins.
So this is where you have to be honest with me. How many times have you run into the gym at about 11 p.m. and just waited for that cha-ching sound to come up for you?
I haven't done it because there would be no cha-ching sound for me these days. So, but I have rebounded for players here in the early going, and it is a motivating thing. I mean, our guys really, really love it. So it's also, we can use it during practice so that when we have scrimmage sessions, we get a shot chart at the end of the practice, which gives us all kinds of analytics to evaluate as well.
Yeah, very cool. And just, one of those things that can do so much behind the scenes to help, especially development.
No doubt.
Development-wise, yeah.
No doubt.
So when we talk about, getting past finally all the hoopla at the start of the season, the 2 big exhibition games, the Sikma tournament, everything else like that, and then getting more into the nitty-gritty of a little bit of a season preview here, obviously coming off a very exciting year last year, 19-8 overall, 14-2 in the conference, just came up a couple points shy to Elmhurst in the CCW tournament final, but one of those unique things is we got 3 all-CCW team members coming back, which is exceedingly rare.
Yeah, I am not, as I can remember, I don't remember having 3 all-conference players returning in any previous year that I've been here or opponents that we've played. So those 3 would be Nick Roper, Hakeem Williams, and Harrison Wilmson. All 3 very deserving last year, had tremendous junior seasons. And that's with all 3 coming back from injuries their sophomore year. Yep. So they really didn't even have an off season last year. It was just recovering from previous injuries. They've all had great off seasons and are looking great, physically healthy. And so we're expecting big things from those 3. But we have several other guys that are returning also. We are a veteran team this year. We've got 6 seniors, 4 juniors on the roster, all of which have played significant roles at some point in their career. So we've got an older group, a group that understands what it takes and are motivated, because even though we went 14-2 and won the regular season conference championship, we did not get an NCAA bid. And that really stung, because I really felt like by the end of the season, we were a top 16 caliber type team. We were a second weekend in the NCAA tournament type team. And so we know these early season games matter.
Yeah. What else matters, Ron, is as we get into Halloween season here, is making sure that you only have the finest candy to give out at your home when the trick-or-treaters come by. So with that in mind, I have a very specific question for you. There's a very well-known, well-loved malted milk ball candy. And what are these called, Ron?
Well, apparently they're called Whoppers. I thought they were Whoopers, and I've taken a little flack from Andy Etheridge. I thought there were 2 O's, and there's actually 1 O and 2 P's. So I've been corrected. You get the scoop on everything, man. You can't get anything past you, Tommy.
People slip little facts my way. Specifically, it seems like in regard to you.
Yeah,
this is not the first time these things have come up in here.
No. I'm usually an easy target. But I do like my Whoopers. Those are some of my favorite malted milk balls.
I'm glad. These specific Whoopers, full disclosure, have been sitting in my pocket since about 10:15.
I'll pass on those.
Now.
You know, I told Coach Nelson Brown she's got all that candy out for Halloween. She needs to put that away, because every time I walk past her office, I'm grabbing a snack. I need to stop that.
Tempted by the Whoopers.
Oh, can we bleep this out, Tyler? Is this live?
We don't edit here, Ron.
No
we just film and we go. So good luck with everything at the start of the season, and don't forget we have 2 exhibitions coming up next week, right before Halloween, and get your Whoopers out there.
There you go. Thanks, Tom. It's going to be a fun season.
Anytime. We're back in just a minute with Coach Eash and a couple of players. And welcome back once again. Our second guest of the day is Titan head football coach Norm Eash, coming off a big victory over Millikin here at Tucci Stadium on Saturday. Coach, how are we feeling about the 51-8 win?
Well, it's great to get a win. You know, we were coming off two disappointing losses. You know, a homecoming loss against Warshu, and then we went on the road and played really well against Wheaton and had that game really close. It's 14-7. 21-14, 28-21, and we just couldn't get that last score. So it was great to come back and get back on track and get a win. Millikin's struggling this year. We knew that, but, we needed to have a real convincing win, and I thought we played really well. We probably played our best first half of the season, had the game under control, and then we were able to maintain the game, which is important. With the people that we put in, we played a lot of players. So it was a fun day, an exciting day.
Yeah, certainly. And you talk about coming off, 2 of the 3 toughest teams you're going to see in the conference slate, playing competitive games with WashU and Wheaton. wishing they'd ended a little differently. But then it's important not to fall into that trap of, okay, Millikin's down a little bit this year. We know that. You still got to come out and get the job done. It's a CCW team. It's a tough slate. You're going to get their best effort. You know that. And be able to go out there, I think it was Trey Moore, the 25-yard touchdown catch in the first quarter. Danny Kent followed with a 2-yard run toward the end of the quarter, and 15-0 at the end of the first and 38-0 at half, and leaving no doubt there as opposed to letting the Big Blue stay in the game.
Well, we came out offensively, and we in our first 5 possessions we scored points, and I think that's what you strive to do. We kept our defense off the field. If you look at the second quarter, time of possession was in our favor, and our defense was rested, and that helped them to play very, very well. Defense came up with 3 turnovers in the ball game. We had none, so we won the turnover margin. There's a lot of things you can point to, and our special teams did really well too. So, like I said, it was a game that we kind of put everything together, and hopefully we can get into a stretch here. We talked to our players about having short-term goals and long-term goals, and our long-term goal is to finish the season the best we can. But each short-term goal is each victory, and it was last week against Millikin. I thought our kids responded to that. And then this week we got to go on the road and play a really, really tough North Park game. So the North Park team. So, we have to prepare for them. And they're coming off a tough loss versus North Central. But they're playing well, and they'll be excited. And we just got to go up and maintain that and control that game.
Yeah, certainly. You talk about the defense, and, all but a shutout until, they scored with 38 seconds to go. But, again, trying to get a lot of players in as well. On the 3 picks, Frank Rohde, Ryan Sachs, and Paul Zunkel held the Big Blue to 176 yards of total offense, 4 sacks, including a couple from Zach McNeese, who I'm pretty sure has had a multi-sack game every week since appearing in here.
I believe so.
We might need to bring him back every once in a while just to refresh that mojo, I think. But when you get to have a 38-point halftime lead, you get to see more faces in the game in the second half. Anyone in particular you were really excited to see in the second half?
Well, you mentioned those interceptions. They're all 3 seniors, so you're really happy for them. Ryan Sachs plays corner for us, and he got a pick, and then Paul Zunkel plays linebacker. He's got a pick, and so it was good to see those seniors excel, and we were able to play all the seniors and give them quality playing time, and then we got a lot of other players in, and we had a JV game on Sunday, so you got to be careful because you got to play some kids on Sunday too. So, but it was fun, and I think our players feel good about their performance, which is a key. And then we needed that to finish the season the best we can, and so now we have to move forward, get ready for North Park. Like I said, it's going to be a challenge. It's always a tough trip because you're going to the inner city Chicago, and they have different facilities, and so we can't get distracted by all those things and come out and, like I said, capture momentum right away because they'll be ready to play us coming off a tough loss to North Central.
Yeah, and North Park, certainly you go back throughout your career, has typically been toward the bottom of the CCW standings, but has really overall been a much improved program over the last several years and has been able to give a lot of probably more talented teams on the surface really tough battles, especially at their place.
Well, they're a funny team because they've come from behind in 2 ball games. They won a double overtime against Augustana, and they came from behind to beat Carroll. And so they play really hard, and they've been playing the same players for the last 2 years. So they have, like on defense, they have 9 starters returning. I'm sure they have the same thing on offense. So you're talking about an experienced club, and like I said, they'll play hard at home. They probably went in the North Central game being 4-1, and they thought they had a chance. And North Central came out and struggled a little bit with them at the very beginning, the first quarter. But then, they did what they had to do, and that's what we have to do. I guess that's my point: is get their attention a little bit, play like we're capable of playing great defense and offense, and get on top, and just control the game.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about, throughout several of the last few weeks in here was, we've had so many games in the last month and a half where it really feels like, both on offense, defense, and special teams, it's been a controlled game 75% of the time, and then a couple big plays here and there. I think back to the Wheaton game. I think back to Wash U as well. You take a couple of, 75-yard scampers out of there, and it's a very different ball game. You can't do that. But you're happy with what you saw in terms of bottling up big plays and on Millikin?
Yeah, when you mentioned the Warshoe game, I'm just going to tell you, we had 6 drop passes and we gave up about 3 or 4 big plays on defense, and that was the difference in the game. At Wheaton, we were closing the gap, 3 times, and we gave up big plays there. So those are things that we have addressed, and I think this week I thought our defense did a really good job. If you look at the rushing yards that Millikin had, I mean, we shut down the run, and then I thought we did a great job of communicating better in the secondary, and we had some different guys back there playing a little bit. So we made some changes, and I think it was beneficial to us. So again, that's what you look at when you look at the Millikin game. I think we put everything together, and that's what we needed to do to finish up the season really strong.
Yeah. Well, let's keep it going another week, Coach. Good luck up at North Park. For those of you in the Chicago area, it is a 1 p.m. kickoff up at North Park on Saturday afternoon. Should be a spectacular fall, late summer day, something like that.
The weather's been great. This don't jinx us by saying it's been great, but it has been a really great fall for weather, and I think it's supposed to be the same thing on Saturday. So,
yeah, good luck to you, Coach, and thanks for joining us as always.
Thank you, Tommy.
I think it was one of my first few classes I realized, I like this. And then I was like, I got some tests back and I did well on them, and I was like, I'm good at this. I went from high school 10 years ago, almost flunking out, almost dropping out, to being on the dean's list. If I have the support that I need, I can accomplish things and do things that I was never expecting to be able to do. I think so fondly of my experience here so far.
And carrying on, talking a little bit more football before we discuss some men's golf and some women's soccer in just the next few minutes. We are joined by defensive lineman Matt Hansen, sophomore out of Marist, and senior O-lineman Dylan Meyer from Manuka. Gentlemen, how are we doing today? Good to have you on.
I'm good. Thank you.
Doing well on yourself?
Pretty good. Can't complain, Very exciting. Obviously, we got to recap a little bit of the big near 50-point victory over Millikin on Saturday. But just from your perspective on the field, obviously you played a lot of nail-biters, a lot of close games the last few weeks against some tough CCW teams. Yeah. A game that was a little bit more in hand from the get-go this weekend, getting to see a lot of your teammates who may not get to see the field as much get in the ball game. Any thoughts? Anyone you were particularly excited to see on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy to get our seniors out there. Every week we're always working really hard, and some of these games it's too close to really get everybody in. So I was very proud that we were able to get our seniors in there. And some of those young guys who, we have a big senior group that we're going to be gone next year. So seeing some of these younger guys get in, I thought that's very beneficial to them, just getting that varsity experience, because I know when I was a freshman, getting that varsity experience that young, it really helps. I was really happy to see some of those offensive linemen more specifically. I like seeing freshman Jack Prairie. He looked like he was playing pretty well out there. Daniel Nash as well. Nate Henderson and Nikki Alexandros, they all went out there, played hard, and they look like they have a bright future. So,
yeah.
Defensively, I would say I was very happy to see the seniors like Ryan Sachs, Anthony Lamatia step on the field. Ryan Sachs the pick, which was game-changing. Paul's uncle as well, also had a pick. And then some of the younger guys on the D-line, like Nas King, Sam McMillan, JP, Connor Wagner, they all came out and had a great game.
Yeah, and it's not often you get to be able to do that, CCW slate.
Yeah.
And, when we go back a little bit, going back 1 week and talking a little bit about that Wheaton game where, going on the road against one of the, 2 perennial top 25 teams from the CCW over the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah. A game that hadn't been super competitive necessarily over the last couple of years very much was. And a 7-point game to the end in the fourth quarter. Matt, you in particular, obviously, You wish the result would have been different at the end, but 2.5 tackles for loss, a sack, a forced fumble, and just a real disruptive presence, I would say, in general on the line against a team that's got a big offensive line and a lot of really talented skill players, and you have to create some pressure to be able to stop that Wheaton offense. What was your game plan in particular going in?
I was just watching a bunch of film on the offensive line, and based on which person was in, I would use a different move. And then the DBs as well helped out a lot with giving us time.
Yeah, and that, as you've seen, we talk so much with Coach Eash about having a lot of 3rd and 4th year starters on this team, and particularly on the defense. Defense was very inexperienced back in 2021, 22. Very much on the other side of things now. A lot of players that have gotten a chance to play together quite a bit over the last 2-3 years. You as a sophomore coming in and getting a lot of playing time now, how have you gelled with that group that's been playing together for so long?
I think the seniors did a great job of welcoming me in, like Lavacek, Fabian, McNeese. They have helped me with the playbook last year a lot, and they're just very easy to work with.
And it's obviously key in any sport, but particularly so when you have so many position groups and so many different aspects. You're looking at, you have 6 captains this year, is that correct, Dylan?
Yes, sir.
And you're one of them?
Yes, sir.
So how would you say that's gone this year in terms of splitting the leadership roles really between the 6 of you?
Yeah, as somebody who likes to be pretty vocal, this year I feel like I've tried to split that up more, let more voices be out there. And, I like to say this. Yeah, we have 6 captains, but I believe that every senior on the team has a leadership role. And maybe they're not a captain, but I think they should be able to speak their mind. And, if something's not going well, I feel like they should be able to say something. So I don't think it's been too bad. I feel like there should still be some guys that, step up more and speak more often, or maybe just show it out on the field. But I feel like as the season has been going on, it's been getting better. I also really like how Jahari Scott, one of our captains, he's been very vocal. I feel like he's been, a very good leader, especially as a junior. It's a tough job for a junior, especially with a lot of seniors out there. But I feel like he's done a great job so far.
I feel like I should know this, but I've forgotten. Is he the only junior captain?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was pretty sure. He, of course, had a big game, 9 carries for 122 yards, a couple of touchdowns on Saturday, in addition to being his usual threat on special teams and in the return game that we got to see more of last year. So as we look at a little bit of, whether it's on the field over the last 4 or 2 years or off the field stuff, as you get closer and closer to senior day and your last game in green and white, any particular favorite memories from football or otherwise as you look back?
Man, I think for me, just everything has been a blast. Football, it's a sport that I love. I love the team aspect of it. I just love being out there with my brothers. It makes me very emotional when I talk about this with my family, but I truly believe that there's nothing greater out there than, a team sport like football, man. It's a tough sport. Just every day being with my guys out there, grinding it out. Even on the worst days and the best days, man, it's just, there's nothing like it. And I just feel like those that don't play don't truly understand how tough of a sport football is, and they don't understand the brotherhood that football brings. And, that, 4 weeks or 4 games from now, that's going to be over for me. So I need to really cherish these last 4 weeks, and I hope all the other seniors do as well, because it's gonna fly by, man. Like, we're already going on to Game 7, and it's coming. So.
And I feel like some of that is perhaps even more true as an offensive lineman than others, in terms of look at every single unit on the field, offensively and defensively, probably the one that has to work together the most consistently and always be on the same page as your line. And I know we're getting down to the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Speaking as most of my roommates or friends in college were a bunch of our offensive line, and looking back at the last 12 years and how much I and they have gotten to see each other beyond just the occasional wedding or things like that. Yeah. I don't think that's going away. That part's not going away anytime soon. Don't worry. So when we look at for your perspective, a season and a half into what will hopefully be a great 4 years here, and rewinding now to, thinking about being a junior and senior in college or in high school and starting to look around at different programs, different schools. What was it in particular that ultimately led you here at Illinois Wesleyan?
I visited here on a football visit, and the community was really great. It's also a great school, and Coach Eash was always calling, so had to keep picking up the phone, and eventually I just made my decision to come here.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Once again, if you missed the end of Coach Eash's segment, it'll be the Titans up at North Park in Chicago, 1 p.m. kickoff this Saturday. Good luck, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're back in a few minutes with Griffin, Pohl, and Quinn Clifford from men's golf.
Garrett with the right side, the cutter to Holliday with a throwdown. A senior day to remember for Grant Hardy with an impressive flush.
On their feet, the 2-2 pitch, called strike 3. A breaking ball down the middle, freezes the batter bends, and Jake Pullum sprints off the mound.
This one swung on into the outfield. That's going far, and it is gone. Bailey Turner walks it off for the Titans. 5 seconds. Sawyer White, the heave, the bank is open.
Welcome back once again. Our fourth pair of guests today, Griffin Pohl, senior from Western Springs, and Quinn Clifford, senior graduate of Brother Rice, two of our many decorated men's golfers coming off a very successful fall season. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So we're going to see if we can reach all the way back here for a minute and talk Division III preview, 2-day tournament back on September 22nd and 23rd, which is, it's now 4 weeks ago. But if that's remotely fresh in your mind at all, heading out to New York, obviously for those who don't know how that works, typically a fall tournament every year held where the national championship is going to be played, and with a lot of the top teams in the country, finished second out of 18 there as a team. And what was that trip and that experience like for you guys this year?
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, to start off, it was a little different, I'd say, than last year. Last year's preview was our last event at the end of October. This one was pretty fresh on the schedule, so it was a different dynamic to get out there early. But I thought it was a good week for us to see where we're at and to see the course and try to put a game plan together for the spring. But I think the course sets up really well for us, and we saw that with our scores. We caught Emory on a hot week, but other than that, I think we were pretty proud of where we were placing.
Yeah.
I think the preview is probably one of the cooler tournaments we get to play each year, specifically because it was in New York. I mean, you're flying into a big city. A lot of the top teams are there. And it's just a great week to kind of build positive memories at. And like Quinn said, yeah, we did a great job of that, and I'm excited for what's to come this spring.
Yeah, certainly. And that's going to be played on 2 different courses, alternating by day. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Similar to how that setup often is? Okay. Are those courses that you have on the simulator?
No.
In the lab or not? No? Okay. I was guessing not, but I wasn't positive. So fast forwarding then to early October 7th, 8th at the Wabash Fall Invitational, the first individual victory for you, Griffin, and then, of course, quite the dramatic third round with the hole-in-one on the 4th, and then the eagle and birdie to close things out. Was that your first hole-in-one? You made some
Second.
before?
I made one
Okay.
my sophomore year here, actually,
Okay.
during a B-team event.
That rings a bell all of a sudden. We might have had that as a top 10 in the Tommies. I don't remember.
Maybe.
There was a hole-in-one in there somewhere. I feel like it was a girl.
We'll
now
get 'em
that I
on
think
there
about
again.
that. Yeah. We just need to follow you around with the camera at all times, I guess, I think. But, as you're coming down the stretch in a tight race like that and then able to go 3 under on the last 2 holes, not something you can pull off every day, certainly. What's it feel to be able to look at the leaderboard and see your name at the top for the first time in a collegiate tournament?
It was really cool. Definitely something that I was kind of working towards, and something that I was a little concerned that was not going to happen. So it was definitely cool to get to experience that, get to experience a team win in a decent field at a cool venue. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, tell us a little about that course.
I'd actually say it kind of sets up similar to New York, just kind of like old school country club, undulated greens, so pretty quick, pretty tricky, but tree lined. So there's a premium for hitting your driver straight on courses like that, and then generally you're going to have wedges in, so I'd say it's pretty scoreable when the course is set up that way.
Okay. That's 66, 74, 69, a career best 209 for you, and 7 under if my very quick math was correct before we went on the air here. If it wasn't, I'm just going to chalk that up to the Illinois Wesleyan education and move on. But it earned you your second CCW Golfer of the Week honor in a row, 4th of your career, so congratulations on that. And then moving on to the Golf Week October Classic at the Raven Golf Club, Sandestin Resort, October 13th through 15th. This one's a little more recent in the memory. But Quinn with a great tournament there, finishing 16th overall as Illinois Wesleyan's top finisher. Griffin and Michael Spitzer tied for 28th. Aiden Healy, 56th. Junie Bay, 75th. A lot of good performances across the board, I would say. But any thoughts on that weekend?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of our top 2 tournaments of the fall for sure. I mean, we didn't play bad. We shot even par and lost by 28. It was just kind of one of those weeks. I don't know if we quite attacked the course quite like we wanted to. I mean, if going into it we knew that 28 was the number to get it done, maybe some different decisions. But, I mean, like I said, we played solid, didn't have our best finish, but I think it was a good tournament to kind of set together an off-season plan and get us moving right back in the right direction, get right back on the horse.
Yeah, now it is late October. We're heading into the off season. No late October D3 preview ahead this year. Done with official competition. But what do the next few months look like for you guys as we head into kind of winter here in Bloomington?
Typically, off seasons kind of start with a little bit of a break. Give your body a break. We've been playing golf really since last April because we all play competitive summer tournaments. So this is kind of the opportunity to give your body just a little bit of a break. Try to get in the gym a little bit because it's kind of tough to swing when your body's super sore. So that's on the agenda. Probably start team workouts here. And then it's generally best to just take a lot of time and reflect on whether or not it's your stats or maybe mindset stuff that you want to change, but kind of sit down and really think about developing that game plan because off-season kind of moves pretty quickly, especially with it being winter and, not a lot to do around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would build on that, saying the older we get and the more, off seasons you go through, you kind of learn the best way to approach it, and I think that's where we can help out the young guys who don't quite know yet how to attack it. But yeah, I think like Griff said, it's a lot of reflection and putting together a plan to get yourself in the best position to win come springtime.
Any particular, as you look back at the last 8 or so months here, any particular things that stand out to you that it's like, this is something I want to focus on either physically, mentally, swing-wise, whatever, for this winter?
I mean, there's always opportunities to kind of adjust your swing to make it a little bit more repeatable. But I think for us, just kind of the way all of our games work, I mean, we hit the ball far. So it's trying to refine that sort of dispersion that you have with most of your shots and just kind of developing a game that is transferable to different courses and making sure that you have the game it takes to shoot low scores, really. I mean, even par is great, but that's not usually what it takes to win. So developing a game that can take you under par.
Yeah, build off that. I mean, I think we know that need more birdies, and we already hit it further than most teams out there. And when we start hitting it straighter, we could be tough to beat. So I think we're all bought in on that and looking forward to getting after that this winter.
Like every golfer from the age of 8 to 85. So when you look back at your careers, whether it's high school, college, anything else, any particular courses that stand out to you as just favorite places that you've played?
I think if you've been lucky enough to play a U.S. Open venue, they set it up each year to be the hardest test in golf. So if you were fortunate enough to be able to play a course like, for me, Erin Hills, it's up in Wisconsin, and then Pinehurst down in North Carolina, both have had U.S. Opens there since Erin Hills was 2017 and this past year was Pinehurst. So those are my top two. Just super cool layouts, super tricky greens, usually fast-paced greens, and it really requires you to hit a lot of good shots, different shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of boring, but I think my answer is the same. Erin Hills is at the top of my list for sure. Yeah, you just can't beat it. Like Griff said, the amount of shots that you have to hit out there and, like, carnage for misses, I think, is some of the best golf that you can play. So, yeah.
I'd also throw in Vegas last year. Playing with the mountains as the backdrop was pretty cool. So if you've been out west, I think.
A little different than tree lined.
It is, yeah. And not a lot of mountains at, Ironwood or ISU or anything like that. So, yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the off season. Get to rest a little bit. Get to work on your games downstairs. And we'll see you in the spring. Good luck with everything.
Thanks for having us.
They say inside every challenge is an opportunity. At Illinois Wesleyan, you have the power to seize that opportunity. Discover the tools, the mentors, and the experiences to take on any challenge and shape not just who you are, but who you will become. The best college in Illinois for jobs is right here. Tap or click now to start your free application and break through at Illinois Wesleyan University.
And our final pair of guests for the day here in Week 8 of Titan Table Talk, Coach Bakirdan and Kayla Borg from women's soccer. How are we doing today?
Doing great.
Hey, excited to have you on. We had Tegan and Bree on maybe a little over a month ago to kind of talk about the first half of the season, but want to recap a few things that have happened since then. Most notably, if we can make it back in our brains a whole 12 days, the big 3-0 victory over Wheaton here on October 9th. Grace Kiewit's second career shutout, faced 24 shots, 8 shots on goal, kept a clean sheet the whole time, and got off to a really hot start with Bree and Liza both finding the back of the net in the first 10 minutes. Probably the biggest victory of the season so far. What did you see in that game, Coach?
I think we just play as a team really well. I think just the team, the way they support each other, even on the field and off the field. I think we've been training really well. It's just we haven't always got the results we wanted, but I don't think we're ever not in a game, and I think that's a big difference for this year.
Yeah, it is, and you saw obviously two classes. We've talked about two classes that were very, very talented, essentially graduate at the same time, and looking to basically rebuild off that. There's two parts of that. One is obviously having the talent on the field that can compete, but the other is it's the culture and it's the leadership, and it's trying to replace a huge group of girls that not only played a lot of minutes and scored a lot of goals, but really, were the heartbeat of that team for several years. And when you take 10 people off the top, it thrusts a lot of new people into leadership roles, and sometimes it takes time to find that and time to gel. And what have your thoughts been this year now on the leadership and culture you've seen?
I think the culture is 100% better than last season. We actually have leadership that cares and wants to compete every game. And then I think, when your leadership shows the compassion and the love for their teammates, I think that goes a long way. And we were lacking that in the past, and I think we're going in the right direction. We're just really young. I think there's times we start 6 freshmen, 7 freshmen, and the upperclassmen have dealt with it really well. And we're just trying to keep moving forward.
Yeah, 10 freshmen on the roster, transfer as well, like you said, often 6 or 7 in the lineup. And one of those, between the pipes, Grace Kiewitz played the majority of the time in goal. And Kayla, I want to talk to you a little bit about your role this year. Obviously, I've played a lot of minutes in goal over the last 3 years. No longer able to play, protect the noggin, but been able to play a big role on the sidelines and during practice as well for the Titans. So tell us a little about what your role's been this year.
Yeah, so I knew I still wanted to be a part of the team. Obviously, the team is a huge part of my life, and I wasn't ready to give that up yet. So my main goals for this season were really just to be able to support the freshmen coming in. Obviously, we have the 2 freshman goalkeepers and then a sophomore goalkeeper, so very young. And I kind of just wanted to be able to give them, like, the knowledge I've learned over the past 3 years, the experiences I've had, and just be able to help and support them grow and kind of merge into the team. I think they've done an excellent job, and I mean, I'm really, really proud, obviously, of Grace. She's really stepped up, and all of them really are just wanting to grow every day, so I've been really proud of them, and I'm glad that I'm still able to give that leadership just in a different sense and not on the field.
I would like to add to that. I think Kayla's done a great job just being on the sideline, and even in training. She's able to work with the goalies, give them advice. I mean, obviously not having Kayla this year was a huge hit for the team, but having her on the sideline and helping out basically as an assistant coach, I think she's doing a great job, and it shows a lot about her character and the type of person that Kayla is.
Yeah, when you're looking at the senior, junior, upperclassmen leadership that you do have, it's really all out on the field between defense, midfield. You're looking at 3 goalkeepers on the roster, a sophomore and 2 freshmen who don't have a lot of collegiate playing experience, none in 2/3 of the cases coming into this year. So really, kind of, have you felt like there's a lot that you can teach them and a lot that you can work with them on?
Yeah, I feel like, too, I kind of had that coming in my freshman year. There was a senior goalkeeper that I went to for everything. She gave me a ton of advice, and I feel like there's just certain things where you don't always want to either go to coach or go, talk to someone. So I feel like I've just been trying to give them, like, someone to go to if they just have, like, small questions or just, big game coming up, how do you prepare for that? Just trying to support them the best that I can, like, as, like, a teammate and not as much as, like, from a coaching standpoint.
And I think to add to that, we also have Justin Hart, who's a former men's player on the sideline as well, and I think he brings that. When you have 2 players that I feel like played at a high level, and now they're in a role where they're helping a team, I think they're doing a great job of making that adjustment from player to /coach. And so I can't say enough about the 2 of them. I think they've done a great job. I know the team loves having them. And so it's been very positive.
Yeah, and especially in a year where, if you look at your roster and the list of assistant coaches and bench help is lengthy, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way when you're really kind of working without a full-time assistant, without Sue there. Chad Jones has stepped into that role, covering both the men and the women. But a good year to maybe have a little extra help on the sideline, too.
I mean, Chad's been great. The girls really took to him well. And I think he just gives a different, element to coaching, and sometimes you need that different viewpoint at times for the team.
And when you reflect now back on the last couple of CCW games from this past week, a 1-1 tie at Augustana on Wednesday, Titans led shots and goal 9-7, 6 saves for Grace. It was a 28th minute goal for Augustana that gave them the lead, and then Kira Robinson answered back 12 minutes later. But then the back line really holding during that late rally for Augustana once again. The team defense and the defense on the back line in front of Grace in particular has looked really sharp at times, to me at least.
Yeah, and then we've had an adjustment. We moved Ava Mapes to center back. I think that's a huge role. She used to play forward, moving her back there. Maya Fleming in the back. Vanessa Gray is a freshman on the left side. Then you also have another freshman, Kira Robinson on the right, and then we have a freshman in goal. And so I think we're young, but I think we're going in the right direction, and I think that's the future looks really bright for this program.
Yeah, and now, talk so much about the future and the young roster, and all of a sudden it is senior day coming up this Saturday, too, and a chance to recognize 4 graduating Titans, Tegan Timmerman, Lacey Jerkatas, Carla Martinez, and Kayla here. Any thoughts you want to share on those seniors that you've now worked with for?
I'm going to miss them.
All 3 years.
You get close to your players. I think they do a great job with their roles. Everyone has a role to play on the team, and I think they've accepted that, and they're doing, I mean, obviously Tegan's a big part with being a team captain as well. But I'm definitely going to miss him. I'm going to miss Kayla a lot. She's just having her on the sideline, having her at practices. It's so helpful. I can't explain it.
And we actually have some future plans, potentially even sitting here in October as you look forward to, that post first Sunday in May graduation. What are our thoughts for next summer and fall?
Yeah, so I had an internship this past summer for Northwestern for nursing, and so they offered me a position in the nurse residency program. So most likely I'll be, graduating. That's the first step. And then passing my NCLEX and then starting to work. So that's the plan.
And the fact that you can sit here in October with that plan, most of the seniors that walk in here, we tend not to talk much future plans in the fall semester because they don't exist generally.
Yeah, it makes me feel a little bit better, but I mean, there's still stuff to figure out, obviously.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm coaching, high functioning kids, and so it's great to see that, have them be successful on the field and off the field.
Yeah, and as we said, Saturday, Senior Day, but then the final 3 CCW games this Wednesday actually up in Naperville at North Central. Saturday is a 1 p.m. start for Senior Day at Nice Field. Should be a beautiful afternoon, so come on out for that. And then the home finale in the regular season, Wednesday, October 30th, a 7 p.m. kickoff against Millikin. Hope to see all of you out at Nice Field for those last 2 games. Chicago area alums, North Central is a beautiful place on a Wednesday afternoon in the fall, too, if you want to head out there and support the Titans. But good luck in those last 3 games. Enjoy Senior Day on Saturday, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.